Welcome back. In this exciting video, we're exploring how to turn our SmythOS agents into custom GPTs. This powerful feature allows us to leverage our agents' capabilities within the ChatGPT ecosystem. Mike, can you walk us through this process?
So our next step and our final piece for the day, wow, we went fast, is actually to create a GPT out of this, this part of the agent specifically, answer questions using pools, and then answer question. We want to actually create this as a GPT and then import it into GPT-4. So you need, in order to do this.
That's fascinating. So we are essentially extending our agent's capabilities into ChatGPT. Mike, what's the first step in this process?
You're going to need to have certain capabilities inside of ChatGPT. So if we go into here, we need to go down to our account. I'm not going to invite members. I'm going to go to my GPTs. Okay, so what I want to do is create a GPT here. And actually, what I'm going to do is give you a view into what something looks like that's already created here. And then edit GPT. So there's the process that ChatGPT gives you, and then there's the kind of getting down to the details. And the details ultimately allow you to add or update information, that sort of thing. But when you're actually looking at the actions, this is the information that we want to get and how we want to get it.
Great. So we start in the ChatGPT interface. Mike, can you show us how to configure our custom GPT?
And the way that it works right now, this actually will pull all of your anything that's exposed. It will actually pull all those actions in here. We don't necessarily want that, so we may do some editing. But this actually allows you to define what it is that you're working with. And you'll see here, for example, this is the messaging agent. This is an actual production deployment on a subdomain. We're going to deploy something on something that's not quite as pretty. All right, so does everybody understand what we're doing? We're going to go ahead and create a custom agent inside of Smith. I'm sorry, we're going to use a Smith agent to create a GPT that can function as the question answerer. So just to kind of bring us back to where we were, we are going to use the answer question endpoint. We're going to make sure that this is not exposed to the end. Right, this is something that only gets called via API, and this is something that only gets called as part of our GPT. Right, so we are going to look at our instructions here. Right, so what you can see is that's going to bring us to ChatGPT and help us to have a new GPT created. I'm going to name this. This is our SR knowledge base.
That's an important security consideration. Mike, how do we integrate our SmythOS agent with that GPT?
So I've done step one here, and I've clicked the Create Custom GPT from the ChatGPT interface. Okay, now it says click on Configure tab. So I'm going to do something a little bit funny here. Forgive me, guys. So I have the two browser windows right next to each other. I'm going to go ahead and trim this up here. Enter your custom GPT information. We recommend copy the contents of the agent behavior. Does anybody remember where the agent behavior is? All right. So our agent behavior, if you remember correctly, so first of all, actually what I need to do here is turn off debug. Right. And I'm going to go into my agent. And what I would do is grab the agent description here. Okay. And then pull that in. We don't have an agent description because we're naughty. And then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to click on the configure button. That's that create versus configure. I've given it a name. Is everybody following along? Can I get some thumbs up? I'm not seeing a lot of interaction. I just want to make sure that I have not come back into nothingness. I'm going to go ahead and give this as an example, and we're going to actually use it. What is a good criteria for writing an SEO writing test? We've already got this. It works. We know it works. Actually, you know what? Let me double check in here. We never ran this again. So let's go ahead. Go back to here. Okay. Go back to my agent here. I need to actually populate this. So let's see if I still have, yep, that. Okay. Turn off debug. Validate that I actually have that data source in place now. And run it successfully. Oh, we have a problem. Okay. Stop. We're good now. Let's go ahead, check our data source. Okay, so we now have our data source. Wanted to make sure that we got back an answer from our GPT setup. Go back to here. So far we have gone on the configure tab. We've entered the custom information. We have not yet gone down to create a new action. So let's go ahead and create a new action. And then we're going to click import URL. And that URL, if you remember, that goes back down to our API, that Swagger, and that gives us what we need. So this is just something that this just needs to be updated. It's no longer 301, and this will work, but just because I don't like messages, I'm going to go ahead and source that. Okay.
Excellent. We are using Swagger to connect our agent to the GPT. Mike, what's the final step in creating our custom GPT?
Oh, this is the test agent. I'm going to go ahead and delete this. We're going to go ahead and use the production version. Okay, so something is definitely wrong here. And I'm going to go ahead and change this. Okay. Click on create on top right. That's over here. And your custom GPT is ready. And I'm going to do this for just me. By the way, folks, you will need to use ChatGPT Plus or GPTs, a ChatGPT Plus, or share that GPT in a very explicit way in order for this to work. So let's go ahead. Okay. So what we need to do here, you guys have seen it before, but we need to go back and fix the there we go. We need to go back and work on the description for this GPT. So I'm going to go back to my GPTs, and I need to actually edit this. And in the instructions and the description, I need to do a much better job of linking up the questions with that. So I would need to say something for example, let's try it out here. No, it's still not using my thing here. This just means that I need to go in and do a much better job of working with my instructions here and my my information here in terms of the agent discussion, or agent description, and my endpoint. And get it to do more of what I want, right? Like, there we go. I'm just going to say always allow. So now it's actually trying to talk to my endpoint. And I need to, it's not going to work because I have it in debug. Whoops. That may have been why it wasn't working before either. Let's try this again. Let's update this and view. All right. This should now work because we are not in debug. And there we go. Okay. So can we do a lot more to actually fix this? Yes. To actually make it more. But the point here was to try and actually build out a realistic flow and get you to see and understand how we can use a data pool or use a vector database is ultimately what we're doing. And then build out an agent that answers questions using that. And then make that available to ChatGPT and as a GPT, and then test that. And it is tested and working. We need to do, in order to have this actually be useful, obviously we would need to do more in terms of matching up the proper answers and the best way to ask questions to get that. Because in a lot of cases, some of these questions may be common knowledge, but you want it specifically from and only from the SR knowledge base.
Thank you, Mike. This has been an incredible journey from SmythOS agents to custom GPTs. SmythOS experts, you've just unlocked a powerful way to extend your agents. Create your agent in SmythOS with the desired functionality. Use the ChatGPT interface to create a new GPT. Configure your GPT using the agent's description and endpoints. Ensure your agent's API is properly secured. Test and refine your custom GPT for optimal performance. By mastering this process, you can create specialized AI assistants that combine the power of SmythOS with the accessibility of ChatGPT. Remember, the key to success is continuous experimentation and learning. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Keep innovating, keep creating, and we can't wait to see the amazing GPTs you build with SmythOS.